Hi, it's Ed Janowiak on behalf of TEC, and I want to go through a brief explanation of where our proper airflow will come from. And what I mean by that is what process we should use to determine what correct airflow is. There are tons of rules of thumb out there, and some rules of thumb can be fine to use as long as they're coming from an actual mathematical process. So I'm going to go through, again, a very brief description of where that information comes from, and then point you in the direction of where you can get some more information on what we're trying to accomplish. As it says on this slide, if we're after predictability, we found what we're looking for. And I am a huge fan of predictability. There's a lot of things that we can do when it comes to system design that can really create big problems for us in the long run. So if I can spend a few minutes up front on the design end, it'll pay off in spades on the back end. So if you're not familiar with the design series from ACCA or from the Air Conditioning Contractors of America, there are a plethora of books on the topic. Today's explanation is really just trying to hit on the ones that we're concerned about with reference to residential design. So I'm going to turn my laser pointer on here, and there it is. Manual RS, quality read. It explains residential systems to us. Manual J is going to be the book that is a giant math problem to tell us how many BTUs are coming in and out of a structure. ZR is a book that gives us guidance on how to zone systems. T stands for terminations. Grills and registers. There is not enough effort put into selecting grills and registers, in my opinion, because most of the time what we end up with is a choice based off of aesthetics in lieu of a choice based off of performance. And the selection of those terminations can make a big difference in how a system performs. Manual S is the book that shows us or gives us guidance on how to select systems. We have a video up that's somewhere close to an hour. So I think that's a little bit of an indication of how in-depth we can get for what proper airflow is supposed to be. So equipment selection and proper airflow are two things that go hand in hand. D is for ducts. It gives us guidance on how to size our duct systems. And then B is for balance. And on this next slide, these are our guys when we're talking strictly residential systems. We have to do the load calculation to determine the gain and loss for that residential system. Manual S, again, equipment selection guidance, and it's also going to give us the information that's required to determine what our airflow is supposed to be. When we know what our airflow is supposed to be, we can look at the extended performance data from the manufacturer and pick a piece of equipment that will keep the house comfortable, but also manage some, for the lack of a better term, critical points, if you will. In other words, what I'm specifically talking about, in heating systems, we want enough runtime for good air mixing. For air conditioning systems, especially if you live in a climate that has summertime humidity issues. If we don't have enough runtime, the equipment doesn't have the ability to pull moisture out of the air, but we don't want to arbitrarily run the system at a very low airflow because that affects our efficiency. And I don't want to get into a lot of detail on this one because this is supposed to be a short video to entice you or to guide you into looking at the full-blown Manual S that, again, we'll have available for your viewing pleasure. Manual D, it's so we can size ductwork that doesn't require us to turn the TV up when the system comes on. And on the flip side of that, we're not going to have ductwork that's so big you could drive a car through it, which, let's be real for a second. The second isn't really much of an issue. It's ductwork that's too small, velocities end up too high, and they make too much noise. Following the guidance in Manual D, you can avoid all that. And as I spoke to earlier, Manual T, it's a book that's, I think the last printing was in the 80s, but have the properties of air changed in the last 30 or 40 years? No. It's good guidance. It touches on register selection, how to read the engineering data from the grill and register manufacturers, and gives you some guidance on placement and things of that nature. Again, this is not a video that's trying to teach anything. This is a video that's trying to get you on your way, so to speak. And with that, I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.